How's everybody today? Good. Well, first of all, practice. We completed our third practice today, and we usually start out this thing having three what I call camp-like practices where, the focus is really not on the opponent. It's really on sort of us getting back into football playing shape and focusing on fundamentals and things that we need to work on. And I think we've made significant improvement. I think, you start out a little rusty, but you come back quick relative to how long you've been off. And, the players have certainly done that. I think the challenge is, because this is a pretty long stretch of practice, is, can you sustain and be able to keep your, sort of focus and intensity throughout this, 7-day stretch, which you usually don't have 7 practices without playing a game, especially this time of year after you're used to that. So, and the players have been really good about that so far. Injured guys, Smitty did a little work today. Christian Harris is supposed to start back up and do some things tomorrow. I don't think anything else has come up, or we have any changes on any of that stuff. The plan here would be we have 4 days left before we take a 3-day break for Christmas. So we'll, start sort of a game week type preparation with our players. Have 3 days off, go to Orlando the morning after the 26th, and get a few days work in down there. So I know today is early signing date, and each year it seems like a little more this has become the signing date for more and more players. We were very pleased with the players that we were able to attract. I think we have 20 guys that we can talk about. We have several more guys that will either sign later or have already signed but have not released it yet, and we have agreed not to release it for them. So those guys we really, can't talk about. But I think this day represents a lot of hard work from a lot of people. We have a great team here at Alabama, and we have so many people that contribute to recruiting the university community. Our administration does a fantastic job of welcoming these folks when they're here, spending their time to talk about academics. Our coaches work their tail off, their wives work their tail off, Ms. Terry works her tail off, and everybody in this organization in recruiting do a great job of trying to develop the kind of relationships to make people comfortable here and show them how they can be more successful in life for having been involved in the program, which takes a tremendous team. So, me. I know that all these classes get ranked and rated and all that kind of stuff, and I always say that how they get ranked and rated 3 years from now, is really the telling tale of how well this recruiting class really was. And we're pleased. We were able to identify some needs early. I thought we filled those needs. Probably the most important thing is I think this is really a character quality group of young men. We don't have guys that have any issues or whatever, and they work really hard and been great teammates for the teams that they played for. So we basically have 20 players that we can talk about and several others, but we do have room to continue to recruit several other players. So we're actually excited about that as well. And you guys got this release of how many guys have this many stars and that many stars, and this is all news to me because that's not really how we recruit guys. We kind of evaluate critical factors at every position and recruit guys that fill what we want to play their position here at Alabama, and we're pleased with the guys that we've been able to attract.
Y'all loaded up with edge guys on the defensive side of the ball, guys. It could be outside linebackers or defensive ends for y'all. Was that a big need for y'all, and what do you think you got out of that group?
No, I definitely think that we really like that group of guys. They're all very talented. They're all good pass rushers. They're all long. So, losing the 2 guys that we're going to lose this year, losing other guys that we recruited that are no longer in the program, created a great need at that position, and we're really pleased with the players that we have at that position.
I guess you touched on it there, but what were some of the biggest needs you guys identified for this signing class?
Well, I think that, defensive players, we wanted to get a couple more guys up front. I think we did. And we're going to still try to add to that, in the future. Edge players, which we just talked about. We wanted to get at least 4 DBs, which I think if it's not been released so far, it will be by the end of the day. 2 safeties and 2 corners to, sort of add to that group. We've been trying to play catch up since we had the 6 guys leave a couple years ago. All at once, 4 seniors and 2 guys go out early for the draft. So it's been a work in progress to try to develop enough depth in that group, but that was a need. We always want to at least replace, the offensive lineman. So we feel good about that, which I know some of it hasn't been released yet. Wide receiver, you always try to want to do things 1 year in advance, not knowing for sure the future at that position in some ways. Always important to get a really quality quarterback, which, we feel really good about Bryce Young. I mean, the guy was outstanding as a high school player, very mature, very smart, good leader, played in a great program, has high expectations for himself as well as what the team should accomplish. We felt like depth at running back was something that we needed as well. We still want to recruit. We got 1 tight end, and we still would entertain, another one at that position. So we still have a few spots that we'd like to add to, but, that's kind of there wasn't one specific thing, but, sort of what are you going to lose versus what are you going to gain type of approach, and, how we want to try to recruit guys.
Just following up on Bryce, what impresses you about his game? And is a guy like Christian Story someone that could play quarterback for him, or what do you envision an athlete like that?
Christian Story is a great athlete. I think, Christian actually sees himself maybe at another position. And he's been so productive in so many ways, whether it's running the ball, throwing touchdown passes, making interceptions on defense. I think this guy is, a unique athlete with great character. His dad's a coach. He's very bright, smart, plays the game very instinctively wherever he plays. And as I always tell guys, look, we want you to play where you think you have the best opportunity to develop a career as a football player, and we give everybody an opportunity to do that. And we certainly will in his case as well. So he'll determine where he starts out playing. And then if we think there's a better spot for him, we'll go from there. But, I spoke, quite a bit about Bryce already. I just absolutely love the guy. I love his character. He's got a great family. He's got all the right stuff, and I think that's really important at the quarterback position. You've heard me say this many, many times before. When you play quarterback, it's hard to play that position if the people around you don't play well. So having great leadership qualities can really contribute to that, and I think, Bryce certainly, possesses those qualities.
Was it especially important to do well in state with this recruiting class?
Well, it's always important to do well in state. It's always important to do well in a 5-hour radius. And, we want to get every Alabama player that we can. I think it means a lot to them when they come to Alabama. And I think that's an important part of the spirit of your team. And I feel good about the guys from the state that we have. I mean, really. Hopefully, I know those guys are excited about coming here, and hopefully we'll be able to develop those guys, and they'll be very productive and be a big part of, the spirit of this class.
What do you like about Timothy Smith, the defensive lineman, and how important was that as a need as well, that big guy up front, kind of like you said?
Yeah, well, we have two, so far, and Tim's a very talented guy, very athletic for his size. I mean, he's over 6'4", 320 pounds, plays basketball, very nimble on his feet, has some initial quickness and power and strike ability. We think he can play inside or out, and I think anytime you can get a dominant guy up front, which I think he is, that's a real asset to the program.
As a junior college guy, is a guy like Ronald Williams someone you expect to kind of come in and be able to contribute right away?
Well, as I told him and I've told you before, if you recruit a junior college guy, that guy needs to play. He's got 2 years to play. So we have not typically recruited a whole lot of junior college guys, but the junior college guys that we have fulfilled a need and have been able to contribute and play early on here and play well for us. So we're hopeful that that'll be the case. He's got really good size. He's played star, safety, and corner, so he's got versatility as a player. He's played in a really good junior college program where they had a lot of success, and he was a real contributor to that. So we're excited about, the opportunity to have a guy like that to add to the group so that we're not going to be too awful young, get a little maturity as well. All right, thank you.